Hello, and welcome back to Chair Shot Wrestling Podcast, coming to you from Moonlight Studios. I am Steve O'Mac, and I'm here, as always, with Deano D-Truth.
What is crack-a-lacking, Steve-O?
Yeah, I'm all right, Dino. Not too bad. It's been one of them days. Been a bit of a bad day at the office, let's put it that way. But what always cheers me up is a good chat with you about the wrestling.
Stop it,
So,
Steve-O. Is it me or the wrestling?
Just in
general. That's all right.
After a bad day at the office, a good chat about the wrestling always gets you in good mood.
I think
right?
the heat as well, you know what I mean? Us Brits, we're not used to this heat, are we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, yeah.
So let me tell you what we're going to be covering today. We are going to be talking about AEW's latest episode of Dynamite, and then we're going to be following on with an episode talking about the recent episode of WWE SmackDown. So we got a lot to talk about.
We have indeed. And just before we get started, Steve-O, you know I'm excited to talk to you too about wrestling this week. But guys, please, if you're enjoying this show, and I know you are, don't lie to me, hit that subscribe button, hit the likes, get commenting. Also, if you haven't got time to listen to this in a video form, we're also on Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Spotify. Let's get on with the show, Steve-O, because I'm excited.
Okay, let's go. Right, opening it out, mate. Mate, just to put this into perspective for you, right? When I watched Monday Night Raw from last week and I said to you that it was like 10 minutes and no one had even said a word yet, Roman Reigns hadn't even spoken for 10 minutes, right? In the first 4 minutes of AEW Dynamite, I made 2 pages of notes. I wrote a book.
Well, you know,
right? For a dyslexic man, 2 pages of notes. We hate writing.
Steve-O is, I'm dyslexic also, but we're the same persons, he knows this. But Steve-O's the notes guy, Steve-O's the point man, I'll just go with it, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's in my head. I mean, but anyway, Steve-O,
I like to just remind you of bits, right? So, first of all,
I'm happy you do.
Fantastic opening promo. Yeah. Goes straight in to MJF. And it was the whole of the Don Callis family, wasn't it? Apart from, I think there was one guy that weren't there because he was injured. I think Mark Davis was injured.
Well, fucking hell, how many of them are there?
The whole family was there. It was like an army. It was just great. As soon as I saw that, I just thought,
so many egos as well. And you're thinking, how is he keeping all these guys in check? You know, you got all these guys wanting to be the top guy. You got Carl Fletcher. You got Andrade, the Jet. You know, it's just like he's keeping them all in check.
All different characters as well, right? They've all got their own ambition as well.
Yeah.
See, when the Don Callis family first started growing, and it seemed like everyone that was coming into it was going in the Don Callis family, I did go for a bit of a phase where I was like, oh, this is getting a bit like out of hand now. But I actually love it. I actually love this army that he's got. No. I think it is great.
It isn't getting stale. And you know what it is as well? Like this Don Callis family, it just feels to me that they've just got like the right, like people that haven't really had much to do. Like Andrade's come over from WWE. He's been like, what are we going to do with him? I feel like there's some deception coming. He's going to build him to be like a big face character eventually. But they're all necessary. It's like back in the day, you had that shit with the NWO where they just kept filling people. You had fucking Virgil in the NWO.
And it was
just for the sake of it. But these people are not for the sake of it. I feel these people are necessary to the storyline, and it makes sense, you know?
Do you know what? I'm going to back you up and highlight that point in a minute, right? As we discuss through this little bit. How good was Max, by the way?
Well, fucking how good is he always, you know what I mean? It's like, what else is no Steve? Water's wet, you know what I mean?
Oh, my God. MJF. I mean, it's like the comparison of, I think for a little while, wrestling fans were still kind of saying that, like, oh yeah, he's good, but but CM Punk's the guy, and CM Punk's the guy on the microphone. CM Punk's the one, the pipe bomb and all that, right?
No.
This, like, at the minute, this is like the Messi Ronaldo argument, right? Messi's just scored a hat trick in the World Cup. But at the age of, he's going to be turning 39 during this World Cup, mate. The argument he's put to bed. Maxwell Jacob Freeman is the best on the mic in the world.
He's 20 years his junior as well. He's younger. We haven't even. I honestly, in my heart, and I hope this is true, and I believe it's true. I don't believe we've seen the best from MJF yet. I think he still hasn't peaked. I think he's in his prime. I just think like that's something to say, because I think we look like, 10 years time, look at him like he's just gonna
all of your good mic guys, right? Your Jerichos, your Punks, right? None of them were that good at the age of 30.
No.
Punk never broke
It's
out
only
until
just 30 as well, isn't there?
they were just,
Unbelievable.
no one's on his level. What he did is he just went on this long old rant, didn't he? Where he basically went through this list of every single guy in AEW that has sort of called him out and put in their claim for the world title, right? And that was even inclusive of Don Callis family members. So I had to note it down because as I was going through it, I just thought, oh, this is
Yeah.
just absolute gold, right? So he
He
starts
don't
off
give a
by
fuck, does
addressing
he?
Kevin Knight, doesn't he? He's kind of like he
Yeah.
says to Kevin Knight, I don't like you, but you know, the one thing I do like about you is that you stab people in the back. That's about the only
Yeah,
thing.
I
You-
see it like myself.
And then
Yeah.
he sort of he then went on to say, but the one thing that is definitely true about you is you are the best sort of young talent that's breaking through. And then he just has
Yeah.
a little glance at Carl Fletcher.
Well, yeah,
as if
you
to
could tell
kind of
Carl
say,
Fletcher was upset about
so
that.
Carl
Not coming
Fletcher
up.
didn't like that,
Yeah, you
did
could
he?
tell
But
that.
he didn't say anything else to him. And then he moved on to Andrade. He's just like Andrade, then he just laughs in his face,
Yeah.
as if to say, like, don't even get me started on you.
Which is not really what you want to do, are you? Are you building for to match them
No,
as a
not
team?
really.
No.
But it just goes to show you just don't give a shit.
No.
He just doesn't care.
And which has been before it goes into the storyline. We're saying with long storytelling. It's always been his downfall.
Yeah.
That he underestimates people. He underestimates. He thinks he's a bit too cocky. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that gets him beat. Which is, could potentially Omega could beat him or someone else could beat him before Wembley. So I mean, there's that could be what beats him, you know, because he is that good. But it's like the cockiness, the arrogance.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't, you know, I don't need this. I don't need that. Bloody, you know, yeah, it's what's let him down in the past. It could happen again.
Yeah. He has a dig at Swerve. He tells Swerve to go swerve off a bridge.
Yeah.
He said, but
that was good.
But make sure Nana gets out of the car because he's my coffee man.
Yeah.
He said.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. That's great. Like, still gonna get him a coffee.
Just like,
oh, fucking hell, I forgot about that. I forgot about
that. Then he said about
this
Ospreay.
is why
He said, like, Ospreay, you're not the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. And then he sort of threatened to break his neck again at Wembley in front of the world, in front of his own people. Goes on to Hangman, starts laughing again about the Hangman thing. He's like just laughing. He's going, "Do you get it?" Because he can't even challenge for the title. So he's calling him out again. Then he goes on to Omega. Just basically says, "I've beat you twice. Right? The odds are not in your favor, mate. We've fought twice. I've beat you twice. It's not looking good for you, Kenny. So, like, take a step back." And he's not even done there, right? Then he goes on to and finishes off with Mark Briscoe when he basically just says that he said to him, "You're not a star," basically. So his biggest criticism with Briscoe is that he doesn't look like a champion. He doesn't look like a star. He doesn't fit that mold, and therefore you're just not even worthy of a title.
He's been playing into that for a while, hasn't he, really?
And then he went a bit harsh, didn't he, because he said to him, the only reason why people like you is because of what happened to your brother. And then that got a bit of a ooh from the crowd.
Yeah.
And but he did sort of backtrack on it. He did say, and that's terrible, man. He said, but, ultimately, you're not a star, and this place is not for you. So he just literally just decimated all of them. Every name that he pulled out, he just ripped them to pieces.
It was a definite pipe bomb, wasn't it? Like, drop the mic.
Fantastic.
Always in the same.
And then they go on to announce a team. So he's called it Team DCMJF, the Don Callis MJF, I guess.
Yeah.
Kevin Knight, Carl Fletcher, Jake Doyle, who's the muscle, Okada, Andrade. You got Jake Doyle in there. He could take the pinfall, I guess, if you can let the baby faces win. So that makes sense. But coming back to what you said about the start, about how everyone in the Don Callis family has a place, a purpose, right? I don't know did you notice Trent Beretta It's really weird because you remember we was talking the other week about Sue's van.
He sort of
and
stepped
best
up.
friends.
He sort of stepped up like he was going to get picked, didn't he? Yeah, then he did.
and then all of a sudden, like he wasn't. The last pick was.
It reminded me a lot. It reminded me a lot of me in the football team getting picked because I was shit at football. You know what I mean? They did. That's just good idea. Like, you know what I mean? They're cool.
They've picked the teams and just left you sitting there. And it's like, right, okay.
I was left back in the changing room.
Who's
got
kick-off? We ain't finished picking yet.
Yeah. Go and get me a cup of tea, boy.
Yeah, the water boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he stepped forward, didn't he? And then he sort of backtracked. And I don't know if you noticed, but he then was right at the back and he looked so disappointed at the end of it. And I just thought, I just put a little note there. I just thought, it's either one or two things are going to happen here. Either at some point, Trent Bretter's going to try and prove himself. He's going to do something that he thinks he's like, right, this is going to impress the boss. Or is there going to be a little best friends reunion? You know, does he get back in with Orange Cassidy?
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe, do we see Sue's van?
I hope so. Maybe they've been listening. Tony Khan keeps listening to us today. You know what I mean? Like,
he was only talking about it last week.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. He must be one of the subscribers. He must be.
Bots, mate.
Don't think that makes sense.
The bots are listening, feeding it back to them.
I want my cut, to be honest. Like, they're doing all right at the minute. AEW.
That's it. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a best friends reunion. I can see there's a spot in that sort of little faction, I think, with Briscoe, Cassidy, Roddy Strong, Kyle O'Reilly. There's a spot for Trent in there, I think, like, you know, to get 5. Because, I mean, although Ishii is part of it, physically, he's way past his best. And I feel like he was supposed to sort of be part of this, but maybe he's picked up a little injury and then they had a segment, didn't they? They had I can't remember who it was that attacked him. It was a couple of members of the Don Callis family that I think it was might have been Fletcher and Okada that attacked him, and then Darby's ended up being part of that team.
Yeah, it was just a solid pick, innit? It made that team look a lot stronger, didn't it? That was great.
But yeah, I'd be interested to see, because I like Trent Bretter and he has been right on the sidelines for a while. But we'll see. You know, I love the way that Tony Khan just drops these little things in. He'll come back to it later.
Yeah, it's clever writing, isn't it? But I just as well. Like, I'm just still intrigued to see what this cage match, like, how you're going to get all these guys in. Like, I don't know what the cage is going to look like.
Do you think it's going to be something similar to what we saw at the O2 last year when we went?
Yeah, maybe.
Where it's going to be like a big oversized cage. You're still going to be one ring. Yeah, but it's going to be more like so it will look. I think it will look more like a Hell in a Cell, but without the roof.
Yeah.
So that you've just got all this chaos happening on the inside, and you know, and you can have spots where they spill to the outside, or someone goes through the cage, and I reckon it's definitely going to be a mayhem match.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
But I quite like it in a way, because what it's done is it's still made the world title really interesting. The fact that Max has got it. And clearly everyone wants a shot at it, including members of the Don Callis family, Kevin Knight, Carl Fletcher, Andrade. You know, Okada's the one that they've kept quiet. It wouldn't surprise me if there was any shenanigans or any shithousery that he came from Okada. Because
100%.
He sort of does that little stay in the background thing, did he? Yeah, I mean, I just think it just makes it interesting. Well, you haven't got the title on the line because clearly you want the focus on the Owen Hart tournament and this. Well, we can't call it the road to WrestleMania, but it's like I was thinking we call it Wembley Way. We're on Wembley Way.
I like that. A lot.
We're on Wembley Way.
Not? Yeah. I like it. I mean, we're just a couple of nerds, aren't we? You know what I mean, Jack? Well,
I know. Wasted, mate. It's wasted.
Yeah, wasted.
So we're on Wembley Way. We don't want to take the focus off of the Owen Hart tournament.
Oh, no.
So therefore, this Mayhem 6v6 match just makes perfect sense to me.
It does.
No title on the line.
It does.
And yes, there is a stip. If Briscoe's team wins, he gets a title shot, which is fine. I think it could go either way. I can see the Don Callis family winning, and then somehow MJF's got to give Kevin Knight this favour. So he's basically...
someone's got to get a title shot.
Someone's getting a title shot. He's either going to face, he's either going to face Kevin Knight or Andrade.
He's in a lose-lose situation, really, isn't he? Which is unusual for MJF. He's normally the smarter man, isn't he? But maybe it's the fact that then he can like line the fact that maybe he is scared of fighting Mark Briscoe
because Mark Briscoe's beat him, and exactly that. So again, it comes back to what you were saying about when MJF's already beat someone, he's as cocky as fuck, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, yeah, I've got a win over
But
you. I've got 2 wins over
he's got
you.
the insecurities deep
Easy
down,
dub, baby. But he knows that Mark Briscoe has beaten him, right? And it was a fair win, and it was a brutal match. And so, yeah, he don't want to be fighting Mark Briscoe.
Very, very clever storytelling.
I think it's great stuff. So I mean, I said that was like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So much just crammed into that little bit. The show in wrestling terms kicked off with Kenny Omega. He had a very quick, easy squash match. But that just allowed him to kind of set up a bit of a promo with Zack Sabre Jr. Really looking forward to this match.
I did, and you know what I really liked? I like the whole ending of it. But it's just fucking. There's something cool about it, where like someone comes out and attack you, and these boys come down. It's like something lavish about it, like like fucking Sopranos or something. Like, yeah, I've got your back, bro. Yeah, come on, let's fucking have them. It's something cool about that, isn't there? He's gonna get filled in by these 3 geezers, 4 geezers. He's like, no, I've got my fucking, I've got my boys. You know what I mean?
I know you always say we're like the same person, Deano, but I don't know whether this movie sort of sets us apart because it's a bit like generational, but like it's a bit West Side Story. Have you seen West Side Story?
I'm not saying West Side Story.
It's a musical, but
mate, there's nothing wrong with
the
musical.
Sharks and the Jets. Right? There's this bit at the start of West Side Story that was really clever where it's like 2 gangs. These 2 guys are giving one guy a little bit of hassle, and then he goes around the corner, and then he's got 2 guys of his own there, and then it's like 3 versus 2, and they're giving them a bit of hassle. Then they go down an alley, and then there's another 4 guys of the other gang, and it's sort of it goes back and forth. And I like it when that sort of stuff happens. It's like, right, well, you think God better me?
No, it's
My
cool,
boys are here to back me up.
It was very cool. It was very cool. And you know what it was? Well, I'd never really look at him as a good promo guy, but it was a solid promo from Kenny Omega as well.
Yeah, I always feel like it's a little bit clunky, but I just feel that is Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever written a promo for Kenny Omega in his life.
Do you know what it is with me? Kenny Omega, he's a fucking phenomenal wrestler. But he's more like us. He's more nerdier than cool. Like he's not really like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's where like someone like Jericho's just fucking cool. Like you know, Trick Williams, cool. Do you know what I mean? Like he just does it. He hasn't got that easy beat. He's a great wrestler, and it comes out. And it's real. It feels real, like you said. Yeah.
The thing is, mate, is for the sicko wrestling fans, for the proper pro wrestling fans. This match just simply sells itself. It doesn't need a story. It doesn't need any great promos. This is Kenny Omega versus Zack fucking Sabre Jr.
I can't wait.
It's going to be so technical.
I'm really. This is a match I'm really excited about.
It's going to be a great match.
And obviously as well, it's like I was excited to see as well because I don't obviously watch a lot of the Japan stuff, but he had 2 guys with him that look British as well. And being British, you always look forward to seeing like when there's no British talent on the scene. So I'm looking forward to seeing maybe they make an appearance there.
He's had his faction for a while, so I mean, he might set it up. Who knows? Because they've still got another show before Forbidden Door, so I can see maybe a little 3v3, Omega and the Bucks, the Elite versus.
Why not? What are they called? And this is, you know what? This plays into
TMDK.
Plays into what Kenny Omega says though, because he did sort of shit all over him and say, "Well, no one even knows who you are, so maybe you're right."
Well, I only know because when I look at, I'll give you an example. The T-shirt that I'm wearing today. Shout out to Blacksmiths. They make the best wrestling T-shirts, bar none. They've made the T-shirt for not only Kenny Omega now, but they had a T-shirt for Zack Sabre Jr. For the last couple of years, and he's got the factions printed on it. So I only recognise that through knowing a bit of the merch. But yeah, why not? Let's have a 3v3 on Dynamite. In the build up to it. I'll take that.
I'll definitely be against
Bucks are involved. It's going to be a great match. Talking of great tag teams and great tag matches, and again, the wrestling part of the show. Moxley and Garcia, 2 members of the Death Riders, who apparently, whenever they've teamed together as a pair, are unbeaten. I never knew that, but guys on commentary.
Tony Khan loves playing on the stats. So.
Yeah, because wins are important. And then they were up against Bro Dido, former tag team champs, but they haven't tagged together apparently since November.
I didn't realise it had been
on this big sort of.
Yeah, I didn't realise it had been that long. Yeah.
But it looked like they'd never been apart, mate. I mean, it's just again. I've just in my notes. I just put a proper pro wrestling tag match.
Has it
right?
really been since November, bro? Deano? That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, that's when they lost the belts to FTR.
Yeah.
So yeah, our time
We was
flies,
there,
right?
weren't we?
No, we
that was
saw
the,
them. We saw them win it at Forbidden
we saw
Door.
him win him at
They then held it till
That was it.
the November.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. This match, right, had every type of wrestling that you could name, right? It had brawling, it had technical wrestling, it had high spots, it had comedy spots. It was just like an all-in-one package of this is what AEW can give you, right? So if you was a new fan watching it, and you know maybe you might only have just recognised John Moxley,
Yeah.
might have been the only character that you didn't need to know the others, because by the end of it, you definitely knew what Brody King was all about. You definitely knew what Bandito was all about. You knew that what Danny Garcia was all
Great
about.
storytelling.
Just a phenomenal match, you know. And again, no story behind it, just a TV match. Leads on. Brodito get a big win over Moxie and Garcia. Moxie's just like, okay, to Bandito, you want a shot? You want a shot at the Continental title? You're on. Moxie doesn't run from anyone at the minute, does he?
No,
This character
no, it's a strong,
does not
strong
run.
character. He looks strong. He's looking strong. This character, I know.
So that's going to be a good match.
No, it's a solid
Moxley
match.
versus Bandito.
Yeah.
You know, I can't wait to see that match, because
Yeah.
I again, you know that there's going to be a technical side of it, but you also know that Bandito can do all the moves off the, you know, the high flying moves. Moxie's got all the ground and pound
It's two
stuff.
different dancing partners, but I feel like it's going to work, you know?
It's going to be a great
Oh,
match.
yeah, it's fun.
Really looking forward to that one as well. So what have I got? Oh, Ishii taken out by Cole Fletcher and Okada. We already mentioned that, and that then led to them announcing what the team was going to be for the main event of the 6v6 main event on Dynamite. Which I did feel initially that it was a bit weird to have a 6v6 tag match before having a 6v6 match at the pay-per-view. But I guess
I said this to you, didn't I?
a tag match is very different to what we're going to see in terms of this cage match.
Yeah.
So the tag match didn't involve any weapons of any kind, really. It was more just, you know, just showing you the interactions of the wrestlers and kind of, again, telling that story about how Max is desperate for the help of the Don Callis family, but he definitely hasn't got Andrade on his side, and he's trying to keep Cole Fletcher on his side, but Cole Fletcher is, I mean, Don Callis calls him the alpha now. Now that Takeshka's left the Don Callis family, he refers to Cole Fletcher as the alpha.
He just looks, everything he does so believable.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
No,
it's
he
the
does,
suit that he wears,
the
that,
pink
like
as well,
I
he
said, the
likes
little
the
bit of pink tie, and the little pink sort of cravat sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a megastar.
No, I agree.
Cole Fletcher, I think, is going to be an absolute megastar.
No, I do agree.
Because he has got it all. But yeah, sorry, before we, I've gone off track. Before we come back to that main event, there was a couple of other things. Cope and Cage, right? So the dogs are coming down. Cope and Cage are back. They sort of done this typical Cope and Cage thing, attacking them.
Do you know what? I was just hoping. I was like, I want to talk about that. I hope Steve won't forget about that because you are the point guy.
Yeah, I did.
I'm sorry I doubted you. I'm sorry.
Out of the two of them, Christian is the one for me.
They're both great.
It's
Christian playing this character where he's like, the crowd like him, but he's still a heel. And he's like, I'm still not changing my character. But, you know, he ain't going back to that silly shit he was doing before. No. Christian, he's really serious now. He comes out, he's got this like turtleneck thing on, and he's just like, like a really serious sort of guy. Like that. He still brings out the banging your mum and that thing. Like, it's just,
Well, he said... Because I think he did reference it, didn't he? He said, like, oh, I suppose you think I'm going to say something about your mothers.
Yeah, but he said that right.
He said, I've never come across a tag team that were named after their mothers.
Yeah.
The dogs.
Yeah. That was great. That was great.
These lines are just brilliant.
And it was great how they sort of mentioned his dad, just because you think your dad, like, Finley and that. But I also thought it was...
I did note that as well.
I thought it was great. He went on and said, look, you're going to underestimate us. We underestimate great teams like the APA and that back in the day. I thought that was solid as well.
Yes, and that I think that's the bit that Cope, or like, you know, Edge, is bringing into it. He's still bringing in that little bit of nostalgia and reminding people of how long they've been around. You know, when you start
Yeah.
picturing the APA and the New Age,
Because Christian ain't doing that shit.
Wow.
Christian ain't doing that soppy shit, is he? Let's be
Because
honest.
everyone's. I mean, look, if you mention Edge and Christian, right? The first two tag teams that come to mind are the Dudleys and the Hardys, right? Because we all remember them matches.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes we forget that actually before the Hardys and the Dudleys, you know, they were going up against the likes of the New Age Outlaws and the APA. You know, the guys that had been in the industry a lot longer than them.
Yeah.
And that was his point. Like, you know, we had to learn from those teams kicking our ass in the early days to become what we've become now. It's almost kind of saying, look, you guys are good, but we're going to do that to you. We're going to fucking beat you up. We're going to kick your ass until you learn how to become the next us.
Yeah.
Again, great. That's a win-win for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Because we want new tag teams to be as good as the ones. I did like what Christian said about him, because he really fucking laid into Dave Finlay Jr. And he said to him, he said, your dad should have just let you run down his leg. I mean, can you imagine that being on Monday Night Raw?
No, I couldn't definitely not. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, great stuff. I guess, you know, we knew that this was going to be a filler match, right? As soon as the dogs attacked them when they were doing that 5-second pose.
Yeah.
We said, like, we can't really see the dogs becoming tag team champions.
But it's like the young guys, like they said, they're trying to make a name for themselves, and a better way to do that with a tag team like
And
Christian.
I think sometimes we forget that when you think about Fit Finlay, you know, Dave Finlay Jr.'s dad, and how long that he was involved in wrestling, and the fact that he might have been a little boy, you know, backstage. He might have been there, and he might have seen Edge and Christian, and he might have idolized Edge and Christian. And we forget that it's a dream for some of these guys to be having matches with Edge and Christian, you know, Cope and Cage. So you got to get these matches done. You have to get these matches done, because look, who knows how long they're going to be around for? They're in their early 50s, you know, and injuries, especially the way that guys wrestle in AEW, injuries are frequent. And, you know, the next injury could be the end of it. So get these matches done while you can. There's no point in, like, drawing it out. WWE would go, oh, yeah, we've got time with the dogs. Yeah, no, we'll leave it for 2 years before we start putting them in big matches. I think Tony Khan looks at it differently, and he's like, no, fuck it. Let's go for it. Let's get these matches done. You know, I'm not saying put the straps on.
Get the reps. That's what we keep talking about. Get the reps. Get the reps in. We keep talking about how important it is.
Against the pros that have been there and done it before. Okay, another good match, right? I actually watched this match twice, because the first time, I'll be honest, the first time I watched it, I was busy sort of writing notes, and I sort of had one eye on it. And I didn't realise how good it was until I watched it the second time round. And it was Mercedes Moné versus Hazuki, who is a wrestler from Stardom.
I really enjoyed that match. Yeah.
The commentary, I'll tell you what made me go back and watch it a second time, is on commentary they said and mentioned that in 2024 they had a match previously, and some wrestling sort of writers gave it Women's Match of the Year. And I thought, fuck, I need to go back and watch this, because, you know, if their first match was that good, there's got to be, you know, this match is going to be good. And it was brilliant. The only thing I would say is I just think it just probably lacks that little emotional connection from me, because I don't really know much about Hazuki. I didn't have that emotional connection within the story.
No.
But again, for two women to go out and show what women's wrestling can be, yeah, it was a fantastic
match. Yeah.
And as I say, I think we forget how good Mercedes Moné is.
No, she is fantastic.
She's fantastic, and we've said this before. Her and Tony Storm, when they're both back,
There's a storm coming. Level,
you know, that women's division is just going to skyrocket, because they've missed them so much, those two. And yeah, Mercedes got the win. She's through to the final. We don't know who she's going to fight. I reckon it will probably be Athena. I can see that being a good match.
Athena, it's the more logical explanation, isn't it?
I think that would be a good match. In fact, I think they had a match at All in Texas last year, because Athena's from Texas, and she was like the home state hero, you know, in that match. She was fighting Mercedes Moné. You know, she's been on this massive undefeated streak. Mercedes did get the victory against her on that day, so she's got a win over her. But I do remember it being a good match. So if they can repeat that at Forbidden Door, I'll happily watch that as a women's match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's looking stacked from start to finish now, isn't it, the Forbidden Door? But,
and it was only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were saying, yeah.
Like, they needed a match on this card. But it just goes to show you how quickly AEW can get things together. And then you look at the card and go, yeah, that's a decent pay-per-view.
Solid matches.
This next bit, mate, though, is the highlight of the show for me.
How about it, Steve?
The Will Ospreay Swerve Strickland promo.
Fire! Absolute fucking fire. And the shit, it's just, like I'm going to go back to the point you just made with the Christian, what he said, that would that get on WWE TV? I'm pretty sure that wouldn't. But I'm telling you now, there is no fucking way that promo would have got on WWE TV. He had Will Ospreay coming out and, it got all nice. He's talking about his marriage. You feeling for the guy saying, oh, what a lovely guy he is. He said, oh, my lovely wife.
They said he got married on the Sunday. And he's basically turned up for Dynamite.
And his wife, he's got such a sporting wife that she said, fuck the honeymoon, you can't fulfill your dreams. Well, and he went, I repaid her though, but I took her upstairs and smashed the life out of her, bruv. But what me and Steve-O said was funny. It goes back to the Mickey Flanagan thing, like the coming in my ass thing. Do the Americans, we're just hoping that they realise in England we say smashing the life out of his missus means he's going to go and have sex with her upstairs and he ain't actually going to like physically abuse her, do you know what I mean? Like, we hope that the Americans realise that, do you know what I mean? Because smashing, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong if there's any American listeners, smashing the life out of her is a proper British terminology. I mean, how many else Brits would come up with something so elegant like that?
Well, this is it. Yeah. I do wonder whether anyone watched that and thought,
and we could safely tell you, I could safely tell you, he seems like a real stand-up guy, Will Ospreay. I'm pretty sure he does not condone domestic abuse, you know what I mean? I'm sure he loves his wife very much.
I reckon Alex wins handle herself.
Yeah, I reckon anyway, yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
She's good technical wrestler.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. She's feisty, isn't she?
But yeah, that was kind of like...
I reckon he was just consummating the marriage. If I put it in a nicer way, you know what I mean? Let's say that. More PG. Yeah. Let's go more WWE PG. He was consummating the marriage, making love, Yeah. But then also what was great is Swerve, when he turned around also and said that he was so believable, wasn't he? In the way, he's like, when you thought, oh, yeah, I forgot he done that. And he told him to go fuck himself, didn't he, at the end? Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they built this up really well. Because when Swerve first came down, I'm sure Ospreay said to him to begin with something like, it's been a while or something like that. It seemed quite sort of friendly to begin with.
Yeah.
And then Swerve accused him of changing, didn't he? He said, you've changed. To which Ospreay kind of just did a normal Ospreay response. He's like, I don't think I've changed. He's like, I'm still wearing the same stuff. I'm wearing the same clothes, mate. I'm still talking the same. And he's like, but something has changed between you and me. And he said, and I think what the change is it's the way that you're looking at me right now. And I thought, as soon as he said that, I was like, here we go.
This is going to be plays into real life again, you know, two friends that are sort of like grown out of each other, like they've got different goals, they've got different visions going on in their life. There's jealousy going on, there's this and that. It's human emotions. It just plays into it, doesn't it? Very real indeed. And it was great.
We've said this about some promos, like some MJF promos and stuff like that's happened over the last few months, where I don't know, where sometimes it's just an element of luck that it's managed to knit together so brilliantly, or whether Tony Khan is just an absolute fucking genius. Because they brought up stuff that I'd sort of even forgot a little bit about. Ospreay starts off by saying, well, yeah, the Death Riders, I haven't forgiven them. Yeah, they did break my neck, but, now I am training with them. And look, my neck's feeling stronger. It's working. My ground game's coming along, because they've been working on that armbar thing, haven't they? Moxie's been convincing him that there's different ways that you can win a match. And they went back and said, but what I remember from that night at Forbidden Door is I remember seeing Kenny Omega trying to get into the cage when they brought the cage down and they broke my neck. I remember seeing Darby Allin trying to get in the cage. Do you know I don't remember trying to get in the cage? I don't remember seeing you trying to get in the cage, right? And I was thinking, well, yeah, like why didn't Swerve come down? And completely forgot. Swerve fought Okada that night, didn't he? And do you remember there was a Wardlow return, right? And fuck knows what's happened to Wardlow. He got injured, he's never to be seen again. But he got attacked at the end of that match by Wardlow, and he had genuinely blown his knee out because he had to go and have an op on his meniscus after that. So that sort of made sense. Actually, Swerve had an excuse why he didn't come down to help him.
I call a little bit of bullshit there, though, because he did do a rap concert in the Indigo in the hotel, because I was at the after party, and I'm not going to lie, Swerve, love your wrestling, bruv, love it, but your rap game, it was a bit boring for me. I much preferred the wrestling theme. I'd had a lot to drink, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you, great wrestler, please don't stop doing that. Just your rap game ain't for me, I'm sorry. But, I'm sure it's one. But
no modern rap is for us.
Yeah, but to be fair, we're not down with the kids like that, we say. We're just a couple of sickos.
Public Enemy all the way, man. Yeah. So, yeah, coming back to what we were saying, so that then made perfect sense. It's like, oh, shit, yeah, Swerve's got an excuse. And then Ospreay said, but I can't blame you because I know that you have injured your knee. And then he went all the way back to when it first started. He's like, but this didn't start at Forbidden Door. This started at All In. And he went right the way back to All In Texas, which was in the July. And what a pay-per-view that was, by the way. Ospreay and Swerve had a tag team match against the Bucks where there was a stipulation that, and I believe it was Ospreay's stipulation, and I don't think Swerve was even that happy with it at the time, where if Ospreay and Swerve beat the Bucks lose their EVP power. But if the Bucks were to pin either Ospreay or Swerve, it meant that neither one of them could challenge for the AEW World title for a full year. I remember at the time that Swerve wasn't too happy with that, but Ospreay,
great match, wasn't it?
Ospreay was so engrossed in this thing of like the Bucks and the Death Riders that he was just desperate to win it. It was a great match. They got the job done. So they both left.
The storytelling afterwards as well with the Bucks, where they were like the fucking jobbers. Getting their music wrong. That was great.
Every time they won any money, they went to Vegas. Gambled it all away. But then, and again, this is where, like, you know, wrestling over the course of a year, mate, you watch so many matches, you do forget the little details, and it's the job of these promos to remind you of set the story straight. During that Hangman Moxley match, right, there was a lot of interference. You know, the Death Riders were interfering, and Ospreay was the guy that came down to help them out, because I think there was also the Ops involved in that. Do you remember Samoa Joe was involved in that? But I think the Ops got taken out at the beginning of All In. So they were sort of like, they were the heavies, weren't they? That were helping Hangman at the time. They got taken out at the start of All In, which meant that Hangman didn't have that many friends. You know, we know that he hates Swerve. Him and Swerve have that weird relationship.
Which Ospreay was the one that saw.
Ospreay was the one that just went, without a second thought, just went steaming down there, helped him out, and he paid the price for it, right? Because he got taken out completely. And then his point is that he went to hospital and he didn't even get to see the end of that Hangman match. So he didn't see Swerve come down and hand Hangman the chain, which ultimately allowed him to beat Jon Moxley. And Ospreay had a really good point. He was like, well, hang on a minute, mate. If you were willing to come down there to help your enemy, your sworn enemy, Hangman, in the end, why didn't you come down to help me? Why did you leave me out there on my own? And I was like, shit, I never thought of that.
He's got points. They were bringing up points, weren't they? Yeah.
No one thought of that story at the time. No. And again, I wonder whether, is that just complete pot luck? Or is that the pure genius of Tony Khan that he thought, I'm doing that and I'm coming back to that in 12 months' time?
There's too many coincidences now. I'm just thinking that he is a believer in this long-term storytelling, and he let his little nuances in it what don't seem important at the time, but then 4 or 5 months down the line, you're like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, I forgot about that. To me, His booking ability is great.
And then, you know, you mentioned it already, Swerve's response then, because I thought after Ospreay called him out on that, sometimes Swerve's promos again can be a little bit clunky. Sometimes he can really nail a promo, and sometimes it comes across a little bit like he's rambling. But I actually thought his response was brilliant because he basically went to the point of, look, right, I've been champion before. And I've had to take a sidestep for people in this, too many people in this company that have come in with their big egos. I think he was probably having a little dig at Punk because I'm wondering whether maybe Swerve was ready for a push, or he felt he's ready for a push, you know, before Punk left.
Maybe, yeah, I didn't think of it like that.
I couldn't think who else it was that he was having a dig at. But he was just kind of like, and now you're asking me to step aside for you so you can go on your little Wembley dream, you know, and win the world title in front of your own fans. He's like, nah, fuck that. He's like, I'm not doing that. And I just thought, I can't argue with a guy.
No.
I can't argue.
Because at the end of the day, you know, you
with
at
it.
the end of the day, you know, in your professional career, there's no friends, and you want to be the best. You want to be the best. That's it.
Yeah, and it was superb. And then eventually he got to Ospreay, didn't he? He got to Ospreay and he mentioned about like the major change being is that you've got a fucked up neck now. And then Ospreay just give him a little dig, didn't he? A little dig to the chin.
I like to, yeah.
Got him on the floor. It was like a little bit of like a glancing shot, you know, like you see in boxing. He didn't catch him full, but it was a glancing blow.
Yeah.
And just the way that Swerve just didn't take his eyes off him. He was just
hands in the chain, didn't it?
Just went like that.
Yeah.
Hand out, chain, wrapped it up, and he just looked at him. And then you're thinking, oh, this is going to go off here. This is going to be a brawl.
Then what happens? Our guy.
And then down comes Mox with the whole of the Death Riders. They just look super cool. Every time they come down there, no nonsense. Again, Ospreay didn't necessarily look pleased.
He didn't look pleased, but you know what was great about it? There was a great storytelling. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but you know, John Moxley was sort of like that wise, like, you know, that Mickey from Rocky, like, you know, he was whispering in his ear, and I can only imagine him what he was saying. He was like, "Don't let him rattle you, don't let him rattle you. You know, you're nearly there." And he was fucking literally, like, you could tell he was like, "Don't let him," you know, get in his ear, like the fucking coach, like, you know what I mean, just telling him like, no, you don't want to fight him now, you know what I mean? Wait till fucking Forbidden Door, you know, and that's what he's saying, like, don't let him get in your fucking head. That's what he wants, you know. It was just like the coach. He was just calming this guy down, you know. It was
because Swerve's final line to him was, as he looked around, didn't he? He backed off and he went, "You know what, Will?" He went, "You have changed," and he got him to kind of think about, "Oh yeah, I've got the Death Riders backing me up. This is everything I was fighting against." And then, like you say, but Moxley, again, it's so clever because Moxley's been saying to him all along about, get rid of what's up here. This means nothing. This means nothing. Motion, words, throw them in the bin. Fucking get rid of them. And it just plays into that thing that he's giving him the same pep talk. He's just like, you know, he was going on about words can't hurt you, wasn't he? He was saying it's just words. They can't hurt you. They're weapons that people try to use against you. But forget it. Ignore it. And I just thought, yeah, like, you know, Moxie's grounding him again. Ospreay's all wound up. He's like ready to go. Moxie's just grounding him again. He's just like you said, focus on the job. The task is you win this tournament, you go on, you win the title. Focus on the task. Yeah, I'm so fucking hyped up for this match.
No, I am. I'm hyped up for the whole pay-per-view, Saber.
It's going to be so good. I literally can't wait. It's going to be a heavy weekend because we got Forbidden Door.
We're going to have a lot to talk about next week,
and we got Night of Champions. So, wow, it is a full-on wrestling celebration this weekend.
I'll never complain about too much wrestling, Saber, though.
Absolutely. Just to wrap up Dynamite then, let's just have a talk about the 6v6 tag match. We've already spoken a bit about it, about how good it was with the interactions of the various Don Callis members and that. Ultimately, though, MJF picks up the win, right? So he makes Roddy Strong tap out. So MJF has got his win. So what's your prediction for Forbidden Door then? In this 6v6, does MJF's team win and he ends up having to face a Kevin Knight and an Andrade before Wembley?
I don't think so. I think he...
Well, actually, it won't be before Wembley because we keep forgetting there's this other pay-per-view that they've now got, another one in Canada called Retribution, I think. So there's another pay-per-view before the Wembley one. So it could be that it sets up something for that pay-per-view.
No, I personally, I think Mark Briscoe's team get the wins, and I think there's going to be some kind of shit house we going. Whether it's going to be like someone's going to turn on the Don Callis family, it's going to be Trent Barrera, it's going to be Andrade. There's too much deception going on. Someone's got to leave that group, and there's too much. He's keeping the egos at bay, and he's done so well doing that. But something's got to give, something's got to give, and I think it will give at Forbidden Door. That's my personal prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same because I can see. I think Mark Briscoe is the type of character that once he gets his title shot, he will want to do a Darby Allin. He won't want to wait until a pay-per-view. Mark Briscoe will want it on a Dynamite, and it will be probably a really good Dynamite main event title match. I think looking at it on the other side, if MJF's team win, and that would mean him probably having to face Kevin Knight because he's on this promise, and we know that Andrade's pushing for a match anyway. We've already seen Kevin Knight and MJF recently.
How about this, Steve?
So I don't think they're going to repeat that.
How about this, Steve? I mean, like a future match. It's sort of like it's triple threat: Andrade, Kevin Knight, and MJF, and it's Don Callis in the middle. And he's like, "Well, who's my fucking guy in this? Who's he supporting?" You know what I mean, something like that. I can imagine that a good storyline in the future.
Oh, do you know what? You've got me thinking now. You know my opinion on who I think is going to face Ospreay at Wembley.
Yeah,
right. Because I've called it, and I'm not changing my mind just yet. I still think Kenny Omega is going to go into Wembley as a champion. And now that this pay-per-view, I found out that the next pay-per-view is in Canada, and Kenny Omega, being a Canadian, what better place?
Winnipeg, I believe, the same as Chris Jericho. I mean, what wrestling town that must be.
What better place for Kenny Omega to win the title? I was actually thinking, is it going to be Kenny and MJF one-on-one? He gets his revenge. MJF is 2-0 up against him. He finally gets his win. But actually, that doesn't have to happen, does it? Max can fucking easily talk himself into a situation where he's in a 3-way or a 4-way. And Max is, the same way that he won the belt when Hangman lost it in a 4-way match, he could easily lose the belt in a 3-way or a 4-way.
Easily.
And you're right. It could be maybe MJF, Kenny Omega, and Andrade, or MJF, Kenny Omega, Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that Kenny has to beat MJF.
It doesn't. It's true.
Especially as he got beat clean when Darby won the belt. I think maybe what they'll do is, I'm now thinking what they'll do is they'll keep MJF strong. And maybe MJF doesn't get pinned in this next match to lose the belt. And then again, you've got this thing of, he's got this claim of, well, I never lost it. Straight away, whenever you want to drop the title back to MJF, it's a piece of piss because he can just go, well, I was in a 4-way, I got screwed. And you go down that route of that character that he is, saying it was fucking Mark Briscoe, he got pinned, or it was Andrade's fault, he got pinned, Kenny Omega beat them. That could be how it goes, mate. That's not a bad shout at all. A 3-way or a 4-way at this one in Canada. And then Kenny goes on, faces Ospreay. Then you've got MJF and Ospreay after that. But also all of these guys, Carl Fletcher versus Ospreay, Andrade Ospreay, Kevin Knight Ospreay, all of these matches, we haven't seen them. We have seen, not for a title, we have seen Carl Fletcher and Ospreay a couple of times, and they were bangers. So there's no reason why you wouldn't do those matches in the future if Ospreay was champion. So yeah, I'm starting to think that you could be onto something.
Could be.
Could be onto something. Right. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our AEW Dynamite review. As I said, we're very excited for the weekend. We're going to try and get our next episode. We'll be reviewing Forbidden Door. Our next AEW episode, should I say, we'll be reviewing Forbidden Door. Again, if you've liked the AEW discussion, if you're someone that's newly into AEW, if you're just watching it and you're starting to learn about all these characters from watching these podcasts, please subscribe. Please leave us a like. Please leave us a comment if there's anything.
We want to hear what you think, guys. We really do. We mean that.
And remember, nobody talks smack like Deano and Steve O'Mac.
And that's the truth, baby.
We'll see you after Forbidden Door.
See you later, guys. Have a good one.